Hi, I'm John Kirkman. I'm a music journalist and broadcaster based in the UK. Welcome to the John Kirkman Files. Now, the John Kirkman Files are just me keeping you aware of what's out there. Maybe something you've missed, maybe something you want and you didn't realise was available. We're not going into great detail because a lot of the people I'm talking to, I'm kind of preaching to the converted. They already know what I'm talking about most of the time, which is good because I usually don't. But there you go. Keef Hartley and the Keef Hartley Band. Now, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of R&B, into blues, jazz kind of area. Some interesting things about Keef Hartley. If I show you this particular album, this will give you an idea what Keith was all about. Okay? See that? You think he was a Native American. He actually came from Preston in the north of England. And another really interesting fact was that he replaced Ringo Starr in Rory Storm's band. So when Rory Storm lost Ringo to the Beatles, it's like, oh, what are we going to do? Along came Keef Hartley, who was an excellent drummer, I have to say. Another interesting fact about the Keef Hartley Band, two of the guys who were in the band, Miller Anderson and Peter Dino Dines, ended up in T-Rex, and the bass player, Gary Thane, ended up in Uriah Heep after the Keef Hartley Band. Now, like I said, all these wonderful albums came out on the D-Ram label, and D-Ram were quite good. It was the kind of progressive rock label for Decca, and as such, most of their albums came out with gatefold sleeves. I have no idea what Keith thought he was doing there. Either from an Indian to, I don't know what. Maybe that's a New Orleans trapper, perhaps. But yeah, the music was decidedly good, and the band always got great receptions and did very, very well for themselves. So well, in fact, that they were invited to perform at Woodstock. And people go, Woodstock? I don't remember the Keef Hartley Band at Woodstock. Well, you won't. And there's a reason for that. Their manager at the time was asked, hey, can we film and record the set? And they said, well, we're going to get paid. And he said, well, no. Well, we're not doing it then. So his manager said no to being filmed at Woodstock and recorded at Woodstock. So that's why a lot of people missed out on Keef Hartley, because Woodstock was seen as a bit of a damp squib. The weather, it was overcrowded. It became a free festival, and everybody was going, ooh. I mean, a couple of artists that didn't turn up. I'm Butterfly, I think, was one, and they just said, send us a helicopter, and the organizer said no. If they'd have been nice about it, they probably would have got one. The other band that didn't make it in the end, because again for logistical reasons only, was Jethro Tull. They were supposed to be on there as well. The Jeff Beck group would have done this had they not split the week before Woodstock. So this was a big deal. I mean, Hendrix headlined essentially Country Joe and the Fish, Joan Baez, Santana. They made their real big debut on the world stage at Woodstock. And lots of other bands, the Incredible String Band, and also The Who. And they performed the whole of Tommy there. And Roger Daltrey reckons it was the worst performance The Who had ever done, but everyone was raving over it. So there you have it. But yeah, I suppose it's a case of, well, you have to think receiver rather than transmitter, Rog. But it was a massive festival, and it went down in legend, literally. But when the film came out a year later, it made stars of a lot of people. 10 years after, of course, are very much noted for their final song of the set called Going Home. Alvin Lee, of course, the man who everybody said if he gave all his money away at the start of Going Home, if he was paid by the notes he played, he'd be a millionaire again at the end of the song. I don't doubt that. This is a great piece of film and a wonderful performance. You also have people like Sly and the Family Stone, who'd already kind of started making big waves themselves. It broke Santana, to be perfectly honest with you. Their debut album came out late '68, and then the next one, Abraxas, just went, you know, absolutely out into outer space. Shana Na were on, they did really well out of it. It's surprising, But unfortunately, no Keef Hartley, and that's the reason. And it's a great shame, because I do think the Keef Hartley Band, there's the book, okay? And I mean, it gives you all the covers in here and all the information of the tracks and who played on them. And I felt sorry for Keef. Sadly, he's no longer with us. But he was already a legend by the time he formed his own band and signed to D-Ram, because, as we all know, he replaced Ringo Starr in Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. You know, they were big shoes to fill at the time, so they got a lot of press for that. But the incredible thing is the people who were actually in his band who went on to bigger and better things. Like I said, Dino Dines, the keyboard player, he joined Mark first, and then I guess at some point Mark wanted a rhythm guitarist and a singer as well, backing vocals, so he pulled in Miller Anderson. Gary Thane left first. He was the first to leave, and he went and joined Uriah Heep. He made his debut on the album Demons and Wizards. But again, a great musician. Again, sadly, no longer with us. He died about a year after he'd been sacked from Uriah Heep. Died of what was something that was pretty prevalent at the time, a heroin overdose. But a wonderful bass player, beautifully melodic bass player, a New Zealander, so he was a Kiwi. But the music contained in this box here, as he picks it up, I mean, there's all the albums and the track listings there, okay? You see them. It's one of those great box sets because it's got really pretty much everything you want in it. And they were a big draw. There you go. That's the way they looked, like a lot of other bands at that time. But they were a huge draw on the live circuit, both here and in Europe as well. And of course, people in America were obviously interested because they were on the Woodstock bill. Sadly, their manager did not allow them to be filmed or recorded. Oops. Sincerely, I hope they sacked him after that. But around about 1971, he probably walked out of the office wondering why he'd been sacked. I don't know whether he was sacked or not, but I have to be honest, for something like that, everybody else got recorded and filmed, and nobody really moaned about it because, as most of these big film things do, remember Live Aid, everybody made a lot of money. All their albums went back in the charts after Live Aid, and Woodstock was no different. Once the albums and the film came out, instant superstardom for a lot of those people. So that's available from cherryred.co.uk. They put out some wonderful albums. Why don't you just look through the website? There's so much stuff there. There are a lot of different labels with lots of different types of music on there. They don't just do rock and progressive rock. They do things like R&B. They do a lot of punk stuff. They do a lot of 60s stuff as well. But just go to cherryred.co.uk. Go to the search item, put in Keef Hartley. Keef is K-E-E-F, Hartley, okay? H-A-R-T-L-E-Y. And you'll find this box set there. There you go. So go to cherryred.co.uk, Keef Hartley in the search box, and you will find that beautiful little box, as I said, with a great booklet and all those wonderful albums in it. Thanks for watching.